Hello, my friend. It's a Crypto Lunatic from the Lunar Café, and today I'm going to take you into a dive into Arbitrum. What is it, and why would you want to even consider it? This is not investment advice. This is just an interesting, well, I think it's interesting, a look at a project that I think is interesting, and just to show you what it does and why it's something you might want to keep an eye on or not, as the case may be. But more importantly, this video is designed to show you how to think for yourself, how to do your own research. It is a resource to show you. Don't just take anyone's word for anything. Start looking into projects and seeing if they've got real value and real traction. And that's what this is, an educational little journey, my friend. So with that in mind, join me on a journey into what is Arbitrum and should I be looking at this? So let's start here. We start on CoinMarketCap. We see that it's just under 1 billion, which tells you that this is an established project. But it's small enough that it does have potential if it was to be massive down the line. So we'll look at what it does as we go along. And we see here that this started life very early here, back in March 2023 at $1.79. And it's gone down, then it went up. It's actually made it to the lofty heights of 222. And then it's largely been bad news with a few ups on the way down. Plummet, 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 plummet. Now, some would say, well, it must be a scam token. But let's face it, crypto's been hammered lately. Every token looks like this. It's been hammered. Absolutely hammered, my friends. So looking down, we see this is on all of the major exchanges. Now, this is good. It means that if retail ever come back to the market, they'll have multiple different ways to get involved in Arbitrum. We see that when we go down to here, we see 51% of the tokens are unlocked. Now, this is where we need to start questioning things, because even on CoinMarketCap, that tells us 51% of the tokens are unlocked. Now, it's also telling us, and again, we have to look at things here, that that is what, 48% of the tokens that are still locked or untracked. And this is telling us that the circulating supply is 5.8 billion, which is 58% of the tokens. So what are these untracked tokens? This is something that we need to be aware of, my friend. Now, like anything that I will tell you, you always look at the vesting schedule. Now, this looks brutal, but the reality of it is, if we look at this, see unlocked under the date for 51.36%, and watch that number as I go along. So we go right through here, and I'm going to take you to the end of the year. Here we are to January the 1st, 2027, and we're at 63%. Now, that means that 12% of the tokens will be unlocked this year, which is not too savage. It's about 1% a month. Well, it is 1% a month. That's exactly what's getting unlocked, which is something we need to be aware of, but it's not too savage. So this, from a vesting perspective, I mean, there's way worse projects than this. What is Arbitrum? Arbitrum is an Ethereum layer 2. Now, press pause there. People in crypto get so caught up that Ethereum layer 2 is well known to most people. But for people new to crypto, what does that mean? A layer 2 is something that bolts on to an existing blockchain and makes it better. Usually makes it faster, cheaper, more scalable, more usable. And that's exactly what this does. And I'm not going to complicate things by reading through all of this. This is what it does. It takes Ethereum and it makes it better, faster, cheaper, more scalable. So it's bolting onto a massive ecosystem of a clunky, slow blockchain, and it's making it better, which is what Arbitrum does. So that's the main thing that you need to understand about Arbitrum and how it actually operates. So here we go to Nansen, which you'll find on the CoinMarketCap under Explorers. We see the liquidity is 8.8 million. And while in conjunction with an almost £1 billion project, that's not a great percentage. It's big enough. Shows you that there's plenty of liquidity in, especially for retail investors just putting little amounts in. One more step. Well, we don't need to see that because we've already seen the liquidity. We go to the website and we see it's a fairly neat website, the future of Ethereum. You can apply for grants. You can join the DAO, my friends. So the Arbitrum Foundation empowers the development and governance of Arbitrum technology and helps foster growth and success within the ecosystem, which tells you nothing, really. Tells you nothing. It's the sort of generic nonsense that you'd see on a lot of these sites. But it's fairly clean, it's fairly straightforward, and it builds on Ethereum. That's all you need to know. It builds on Ethereum and makes it better, which is effectively what it's doing. We go to token scan. Now, the reason we go here, we want to see where the distribution of tokens is. And you will find this on CoinMarketCap under Explorers, under ArbScan. You will see it. Holders. We want to see where's the big token. There's a big percentage there, but that's the Arbitrum Foundation. That's the DAO Treasury. So even though that's a big percentage, we're not overly concerned about it. We see 5.7% of the tokens on Binance in a hot wallet. So it's an exchange looking to sell it. So that's not as worrying because that's an exchange that they're there to be sold. I don't know what this wallet is. I'd have to look into it. I assume it's an exchange, but I couldn't tell you without deeper diving. More foundation things. And by the time we get to here to Binance, that's obviously an exchange here, 1.42%, which is a small percent. So by the time we get down to 7, we're in small percentages. And by the time we get to 10, it's all under 1%. So this is actually reasonable distribution that we see there. So Arbitrum seems to be reasonably distributed. We go to their social media and we see 1.1 million followers, which is impressive, my friend. That's a big, big amount of people following them. See a pinned tweet here. You're in New York, London, Dubai, and Singapore. Reasonable amount of engagement there. This posted 16 hours ago. Reasonable amount of engagement. So here you go, my friends. There's all sorts of interesting stuff happening on this. And a very active social media account. So fair enough. And bear in mind, crypto is absolutely in the toilet at the moment. So anyone engaging with anything, I mean, it's very, very, very impressive at the moment that anyone would want to engage with any project given the state of crypto right now. Now, here we go on Crypto Rank and we go to fundraising, which we want to know what the early stage investors got in at. And I'll tell you here, it doesn't tell us. It doesn't tell us. So when this happens, when you can't find this on Crypto Rank, because sometimes it will tell you the exact token price that people got in at. If it doesn't tell you there, then the secret is to go to Grok and ask, and it will give you an estimate. So before, let me move myself just there. I said, state the investment case for Arbitrum blockchain. Who's its competition? How does it compare? What is a summary of where it's at? So we've talked about the layer 2. We've talked about value locked. So you can read through this should you wish to do. I've already told you it is a layer 2. It bolts onto Ethereum to make it more efficient. So it's got market leadership and network effects. So important things. It boasts the highest total value locked amongst all layer 2s, around 17 billion in total value secured, with the total value locked of almost 2.8 billion, over 200,000 daily active wallets, and has saved users 11 billion plus in gas fees. Now, this is the problem it solves, my friend. Ethereum is expensive. Massive gas fees. For people that were trading on Ethereum, you do tiny transactions. Sometimes you'd be paying more in gas fees than the actual transaction itself. It was a nightmare, I can tell you, my friend. So the fact that this is saving 11 billion, just look at that figure. It saves people 11 billion in gas fees. There is the problem it solves. So it hosts major dApps like Uniswap, Aave, GMX, and Pendle, driving diversified usage of decentralized finance and non-fungible tokens and gaming. So it's technology and scalability. So it's got blah, blah, blah. It's fast. That's what that means. It's fast, my friends. That's just gobbledygook that they use here. Utility. So it's a governance token for the DAO. Again, there's more gobbledygook for you, but there's lots of money in there. So growth potential. If Ethereum reaches 10K ARB could see a 5 to 10% upside in a bull scenario, Now, we are definitely not necessarily in any sort of bull scenario now, or if we are, it's very well disguised. So for the future, my friend, if Ethereum goes to 10K, you can see 5 to 10% upside in Arbitrum. So this is slightly higher risk than the top tier coins like Ethereum or Solana or Bitcoin. So the risks, there's always risks, my friends. Now the risk is the market could go down. Now look at the competition. Optimism, Base, Polygon, ZK Sync. But this is the leader in the space. So here's a comparison. It excels in raw scale, liquidity, DeFi maturity, but faces challenges from faster growing rivals like Base in user metrics. Here's a high level comparison based on the factors, and this is really all you need to look at. So we've got Arbitrum, Optimism, Base, Polygon, and ZK Sync, and you can read through this yourself should you wish to do so. Should you wish to do so, my friend. So there they are. 17 billion in total value locked, with 2.8 in DeFi alone. So it's impressive when you compare it to the other blockchains or the other layer twos as they are. You can look through all of this should you wish. By all means, pause the video. Now, summary of current status. As of January 2026, Arbitrum remains the top level layer 2 by total value locked and ecosystem maturity, with strong on-chain activity, increasing stable coin inflows and tokenized assets. However, the ARB token is under pressure, trading at 0.16 cents, down 90% from its all-time high, with a market cap of 979 million and circulating supply of 5.8 billion. Recent unlocks and lack of built-in yield have led to repricing discussions, with some viewing that it is undervalued relative to network strength. Positive developments include partnerships with Chainlink, integrations, boosted liquidity pools, blah, blah, blah. Lots of good things. And I asked the question to Grok, what price per token did early investors pay during each round of funding? This is critical information, my friends. Critical information. So here we go. So we see that the seed round investors back in 2019, they got in for peanuts. And this is why we need to understand vesting schedules, because although the price has been punished, it's still a massive profit for the people that got in here, which is why you can expect a certain degree of price suppression as these tokens get released. But look, for people that got in at Series A and Series B, and these are people that have been in almost 5 years, they got in at 12 cents. 12 cents, my friends. Now, just bear in mind, that's not that far different from now. So for a very mature project, you've still got the opportunity to get in just above what people paid in the Series A and Series B. Now, when you compare this to other mature projects, the entry point versus what early investors got in at, this is incredibly favorable indeed, my friend. Very favorable indeed, based on what we can see there. So, and this is, we go on DeFi Llama, that just confirms what it said, total value locked and the upward trajectory of that generally. Yes, there's been a pullback here, but generally you're seeing things increase on the chain. You're seeing money being made, 1.17 million in fees paid in 24 hours. This is an active protocol. And finally, this is just a prompt that I do on Claude. I don't know if it's going to load up, and it gives me an overall percentage of how it is, and it's 85 out of 100, which is incredibly high. It's well above. I mean, I very rarely get them this high. This is a mature project. There's so much data here. I'm not going to hit you with it. I'm just going to give you the executive summary. So the key findings, here you go. There's loads of data here. I'm not going to go through it all with you. All you need to know for now is 85%. This is a mature project. It looks impressive. So, my friend, it's just an overview of Arbitrum to show you what it is, what it does, and why I think it's one to look at in the future. And for those of you that are slightly mid-tier risk, beyond the Solanas, the Bitcoins, and the Ethereums, if you're looking something with a bit more potential, but also bigger potential to go down further, bear that in mind, my friend. Timing of the market, you you have to make the decision that. But one thing I can tell you is if you zoom out and you go to whenever the next bull market hits a top, you can be sure that this is going to be one of the projects that is looking at serious gains. So whether now is a good time to get in or not, well, that's for you to decide. Could go down before it goes up. But based on maturity, user experience, and what it's actually doing, the amount of money it's saving people, the problem it solves, Ethereum is expensive. This makes it cheaper. This works hand in hand with one of the biggest blockchains in the world, the biggest blockchain by the amount of money in it. Solana is the biggest by the amount of transactions and people using it. Ethereum is the biggest by the amount of money invested in it and its maturity. So Arbitrum is very neatly placed to monopolize on all of these. So there, my friend, that is Arbitrum. Let me know your thoughts. Any questions, any comments? If I've missed anything, let me know. But that is just for your entertainment to let you know what this is and to explore the world of crypto. And if you've enjoyed this summary and you want more of the same, then please do subscribe to the channel. Another video, you'll find it's just there, my friend. But either way, stay lunatic, have fun, and make money with crypto.